So welcome everyone to our 19th annual Hempfield High School Athletic Hall of Fame. We're doing something a little unusual today. Mr. Tim Risser, one of our inductees, has an important family commitment and he needs to get out of here ASAP. So we're going to induct him first. So Tim Risser was a track and field and gymnastics outstanding athlete at Hempfield. He graduated in '72. In his senior year, he won the district and county championship in the pole vault. His highest vault was 13 feet, 6.5 inches, which at that time was a county record. In his senior year, in fact, that week that he broke the pole vault record, he was named Athlete of the Week in the Lancaster newspaper. And I don't know who knows much about pole vaulting, but back in those days, the poles didn't bend very much. They were very stiff. And Tim was so strong through the gymnastics and upper body, he basically just muscled himself over that bar. In his senior year, the track team won the Lancaster County Championship. He and Jim Vogel, who was a previous inductee who's sitting over here, was on that same team. They both won district championships that year also. In gymnastics, he was very versatile. He was a county champ in the rings, floor, and the vault. District champ in the rings and floor. He was the first athlete from Lancaster County to win a state medal. As you know, we don't have gymnastics anymore, and actually, Tim is the first gymnast to be in the Hall of Fame, so congratulations on that part. In a meet against Manheim Township, he achieved the highest all-around score at 41.35. Del Warfel, our track coach back then, commented he was one of the most talented athletes that he ever coached. It's interesting, as I've been talking to Timmy over the last few months, or Tim, he's got a pretty good, strong heritage in Hempfield athletics. The 1947 Hall of Fame basketball team his father Jay was on. His uncle Will and cousin Dick Lutz were also on the Hall of Fame. And his sister was on the track and field team in 1970 that's in the Hall of Fame. His brother also was a very good athlete. And he was a starting guard in the 1969 basketball team. I had the fortune to be in the class just before him, so he was a class ahead of me, and between him and Jimmy Vogel, I know Jim likes to be called Jim now, but we always know him as Jimmy Vogel. Anyways, we looked up to them. They were our heroes. We also thought Tim was really cool. Now, I may be dating myself by using the word cool, but he had these cool wire-rimmed glasses, he wore suspenders, and he had these really cool, he drove this really cool little sports car. So he was kind of like, hey, he was the Cats, if you will. Most important, though, Tim was a really nice guy. He was kind to his teammates and he respected them. And quite frankly, I still think he's a really cool guy. Tim Risser.
Thank you, Charlie, and a special thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee for your time and efforts keeping Hempfield sports history alive and relevant. First, I would like to congratulate this year's inductees, Lauren, Aiden, Tammy, Brian, and the 2004 baseball team. Your accomplishments and contribution to the Hempfield Sports Organization is really appreciated and respected. To compete at the state level in the sports, there are many people to thank to help us reach that goal, starting with the school that supports a large variety of sports programs for both men and women. You need dedicated coaches, and I am very thankful for gymnastics coach Gary Seibert and track coach, the late, great Del Warfel. Their support and instructions were so valuable on my sports journey. I am thankful for the support of awesome teammates in both gymnastics and track. We had lots of fun, but we always knew when it was time to get serious. You must always value the support of classmates, teachers, friends, relatives, and community cheering you on and supporting you. Then there are a great team and individual competitors, sports officials, and judges to thank. As I read through the Hall of Fame list, I saw family, teammates, sports heroes, legends, and icons, some that continued to excel in college, and a few that had successful professional careers. All in all, I am sincerely humbled and honored to be on this list with many fellow inductees and amazing male and female athletes. I graduated in 1972. Fast forward more than a half a century to today. Nowadays, my focus and priority is on my faith and hope in the Lord Jesus Christ, my wife of 48 years, and our amazing and awesome family. Thank you for listening.
We're excited this evening for another ceremony to hear about some excellent, outstanding athletes. We're excited to hear their accomplishments and learn more about them. Before we get started, I'm going to make a couple acknowledgments and recognitions. If anybody is here from the Hall of Fame committee, if they'd please stand. And any prior Hall of Fame inductees, if you would also please stand. Also, you'll notice we're putting up a digital version of the plaque displays. We now, and that also, Ryan Landis deserves some recognition. As you know, in the old days, a plaque with an old photo was fine, but we're trying to get more digital. We're trying to get these images out through the school and the community. And this whole design was thanks to Ryan and Kelly. And she's just done a lot, as well as Ryan has, to help the Hall of Fame. Also, would like to recognize Deb Winkleman. She helped pull the program together along with Kelly and Jeff. And Jim Albright. Is Jim Albright here? I don't think I saw him. Wanted to thank him. He handles a lot of the nominating forms and pulling all that together. And last but not least, if Mr. Jeff Bradley would stand. Where's Jeff at? Jeff is our treasurer and past chair, and he's the one that got this whole thing started. And he's still doing a lot behind the scenes, even though I'm the chair. Him and I have been texting a lot and making use of our texting plan the last couple months. But thank you, Jeff. We'll now hear a couple words from our superintendent, Mr. Mike Bremersky.
Right. Thank you, and good afternoon, and certainly welcome. On behalf of the entire Hempfield School District, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here tonight as we recognize and celebrate the 2024 Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. It's certainly truly an honor to join you for this special ceremony that shines a light on the individual athletes, coaches, and teams who have pursued and achieved excellence in athletics. Before we dive into tonight's program, Charles already did this, but I'd also like to take a moment to express my gratitude to the committee that oversees this entire process. Many on the committee are proud Hempfield alumni, dedicated volunteers, and supporters who work tirelessly to ensure that Hempfield's finest are celebrated. So thank you for your time, your energy, and for the Black Knight pride all of you exemplify. Hempfield School District's mission and vision are anchored by a strong foundation built on 4 pillars: academics, altruism, arts, and athletics. We are fortunate to have exceptional and dedicated athletes, coaches, athletic administrators, and support staff that make it all possible. None of this would be as successful without all the passionate families that support our administration and school board and the community that deeply values athletics and extracurricular activities as a vital part of our students' overall educational journey. And as many of you know, Hempfield School District is proud to be known as the Black Knights. This name has a special origin that reflects the essence of our district, and I've shared this a lot, and I enjoy every chance I get to share this story. In 1954-55 school year, the student council was asked to come up with a school name or a brand. So they sought suggestions from the entire student body, and once the names were compiled, the students cast their votes. While the Black Knights was the winning choice, it's the story behind the name that truly resonates. A student named Ken Bowers suggested Black Knights for two compelling reasons. First, being an obvious nod to our school colors of red and black. But the second reason is what truly stands out. At that time, the United States Military Academy at West Point was also known as the Black Knights on the Hudson, dominated in college football. Yet what impressed Ken Bowers the most wasn't just their winning record, but it was the way they won. They won with class. And that, to him, was what made the name so meaningful for Hempfield. And for more than 7 decades, Hempfield has lived up to that name, winning with class both on and off the field. So congratulations to our esteemed inductees this evening. We honor your incredible accomplishments and thank you for representing Hempfield School District with pride and integrity over the years. You have embodied what it means to win with class, and we couldn't be more proud. Enjoy this evening, and let's continue celebrating the excellence that defines Hempfield athletics. Thank you.
We'll now hear from our athletic director to share a few words with us, Mr. Ryan Landis.
Thank you for having me. Life is about decisions, and every decision you make has consequences with it. So I want to start off by saying that I had to make a decision on how I was going to handle Hall of Fame and having a volleyball tournament we're preparing for, the marching band, the field hockey game, and a Friday night football, when it came to deciding what I was going to wear. And my wife told me, don't try to impress them. You're going to suffocate out there because it's like 85, 90 degrees. So my apologies that I am not spiffy here like Charles or, when I coached at Warwick, I hated playing against Hempfield in basketball, not because they were good, because I knew Coach Goodling was always going to outdress me. And so sure enough, I wasn't going to compete with that again. So anyway, that's why I went with a more informal look, because I get about 30,000 steps on a home football Friday. So in a little bit, when this football game takes place, you're going to have 15 to 18-year-olds and their coaches and quite a few of their parents that think the only thing that matters is winning that football game. And I like to think when you get to a Hall of Fame reception, because I love Hall of Fame receptions, I think it's a collection of people that realize it's not about that. It's not about whether you win that game tonight or how things go. And I'm sure you'll hear it from the speeches coming up. It's going to be about relationships. It's going to be about those memories with your teammates, your coaches, some of those bus rides, the locker rooms, all those things. And that's why we do what we do as coaches, athletic directors, administrators, and educators, is we're trying to help people have those experiences. So tonight, like every year, it's partly to celebrate, but this is also, in my opinion, a way to give back to all of you that contributed to our school and giving you that night once a year where you can come back and you can reminisce and you can touch base with people you might not have seen for a while. To me, the Hall of Fame is the essence of what extracurricular activities are about, and celebrating the highest ideals and achievements and everything that comes with it. So with all that said, because what comes with a Friday night football game, I am going to have to step away, and I'm getting text messages that the ice cream truck is here. So I gotta take care of that before the pickle stand gets here, and we have to deal with that. But congrats to everyone. I will see you on the field at the stadium. We have a section ready to go for you, and it's going to be a great evening. So thanks so much and congratulations.
Thank you, Ryan Landis, for your inspiring words, and Mr. Bremersky also. I think all of us that are athletes or have been involved in athletics understand the importance goes far beyond the sport. It helps us learn teamwork. It helps us to learn the value of hard work. And myself included, running and track helped me to be a stronger, better person. So the academics are definitely important, but I think sports help shape many of our lives. Will be Lauren Henkel, and we'll have Whit Evans introduce her.
Good afternoon or good evening. I've had the pleasure of coaching the Hempfield girls for 10 years. Very fortunate and lucky to write in Lauren Henkel's name as number 1 for 4 years. Lauren came in as a very, very shy freshman. She had a bullseye on her back. Everybody knew she was gifted and talented from her record of playing junior tennis. And she made quite an impression her freshman year. Matter of fact, she played number 1 all 4 years while she was at Hempfield. The one thing I remember working with her freshman year was eye contact when she met her opponent. Lauren would be one of these, like this, and I said, Lauren, are you trying to intimidate? She said, no, I'm just kind of shy. So, but seriously, to work on her to make eye contact with your opponent and shake hands, and she picked up on, Lauren, do you remember that? Okay, all right. Mike, did she look at you during the wedding vows? Okay, all right. Lauren won the LL League singles title 2 times. She finished runner-up the other 2 years. In her junior year, she won the district singles title, and I believe one of the years she finished 3rd place. She was elected a Lancaster-Lebanon League All-Star for 4 years. Her peers, her teammates selected her junior year to be one of the co-captains of the team. And Lauren was a big anchor in helping us consecutively. We won the league title 4 years in a row and the district title 4 years in a row, which I don't think anybody had done up to that point. And in 2007, the Hempfield High School girls team made it all the way to the state finals. And we ended up losing to Shadyside Academy in the finals, but I could not have been more proud of them. As Ryan said about, winning or losing, with class. I was so proud of them. I checked with her dad, Harry, about her record, and both of us could not come up with, because that was like, 15 years ago for me. But I think I can count on one hand how many times she had a loss in leagues and districts, for all 4 of the years. And being number 1 again on a deep competitive Hempfield team, I used to dread the 2 weeks prior to the opening of the season with challenge matches, because the girls, if somebody lost, they would be in tears, and I would get phone calls at night. Will so-and-so have another opportunity to challenge, and so forth. But Lauren came through with shining colors. As Ryan also said too, it's more about relationships, and it's more about the person and how they grow and mature and so forth. And the journey that Lauren was on, starting out as that shy freshman, not making eye contact with any of her opponents, which, by the way, she did look at them in the eyes when she beat them after it was over, though. That I do remember that. But I just think I'm remembering our end of the year banquet, the tennis banquet that we would have and give out awards. And again, I don't think Lauren said 2 words for her first 3 years. The senior year, we gave out the awards and everything is done, and people said comments. And Lauren came up to me and said, Coach Witt, can I have the microphone? And I for what? What do you want the microphone for? And she said, I'd like to address the team. And she stood up there by herself. I was so proud of her. I know Lauren's mom was in tears. I looked at a couple other parents. Ann Clark was right across from me. Ann's crying too. But I think Lauren did one of those up close and personal stories like they do in the Olympics, just sharing what her journey was from a freshman, a talented, gifted freshman coming in, and then helping to lead the team all the way to the state finals. And she really opened up and shared a lot about herself, and I was so proud of her. So it's my honor to introduce Lauren Hankel into the Hempfield High School Hall of Fame.
Wow. Thank you, Coach Witt, for that introduction. Really appreciate the kind words. It's quite an honor to be standing here in front of all of you and being able to be selected into Hempfield's Athletic Hall of Fame. I know how big of a school Hempfield is and how many talented athletes have come through Hempfield. So for the committee and for Mindy, who was the first person, I think, to nominate me, to think so highly of me as an athlete, to accept me into the Hall of Fame is quite an honor, and I truly do appreciate it. So very thankful to the committee, to the school, administrators, and everyone involved for inviting me to be a part of this class in the Hall of Fame. I know there's a lot of other great athletes that are a part of this class, and it truly is an honor to be a part of this Hall of Fame class. I just want to share a little bit about what athletics has been for me. It's pretty much been my whole life since the time I was a kid until now. I'm still involved highly with athletics. I actually work in athletics as an athletic trainer at Grove City College. So tonight at the football game, hopefully my instincts don't take over and you don't see me running out onto the field. With hopefully nobody goes down, but I'll try and refrain tonight, and hopefully just go out there at halftime. But athletics truly, well, it's been a whole part of my life. It's really impacted me and shaped who I am today, and I've learned so many lessons. Built so many relationships, like Coach Witt has, talked about, and so many memories that I'll be grateful for forever. A bunch of thank yous. One thing that's amazing about athletics is the support, family, community, friends, and at Hempfield we've been so blessed to have such great support. I know our team was so blessed our senior year to make the state finals, and you always think a lot of times as tennis being an individual sport, but coming into high school and getting to be a part of a team and build those relationships was something that was truly special. I'll never forget, we were big time underdogs in the state finals, and we went into the locker room before the match, and we watched the clip from Miracle of the speech, and got all fired up and ready to go. And even though we didn't win that match, it was just a special memory, and all the support that we had in the state finals, it's something I'll never forget. So definitely want to thank my teammates and Coach Witt, not only for being a great coach and being probably the only person that could calm me down when I got upset on the court, and be able to talk to me, and kind of get me on the right track. But also a great person and a great leader that I looked up to. Coach Witt was very involved in the community with Special Olympics and other things, so really looked up to him for that, not only as a coach, but a person and a leader. I want to thank my Aunt Karen. My parents a lot of times had to work, and she would drive me from practices to games to clinics, you name it. She would make sure I got there. So like a second mom to me, so grateful to her for that. I want to thank Steve for the nomination. I know I wouldn't be standing up here if it weren't for him, but also have to thank him for driving my mom miles and miles all over the country to all my tournaments. I want to thank my cousin Megan. So we are cousins, but we're more like sisters. So I want to thank her. We went through Hempfield together. We're like the same age, so we are actually teammates for 2 of my years. You know, my freshman year especially, as Coach Witt alluded to many times, that I was very shy, so this is very uncomfortable for me as well. But just having her there and someone by my side to go through high school at Hempfield being such a big school, and I think our tennis team was like 30 or 40 kids. It was very intimidating coming in as a shy freshman and being the #1 player. So having her there, rooting me on and supporting me, I'll never forget those memories we made. I want to thank my mom. She was always my biggest cheerleader, always the loudest one, no matter what sport it was, even tennis. You think, oh, quiet, polite. Not my mom. She's the loudest one. Always knew she was there, and it was just very great. I could always, when I was feeling down or not playing my best, I could look over and know she was encouraging me and rooting me on. So super grateful to her for that. And then I got to thank my dad. Not only has he been a great dad, but he was also my coach. I can't tell you the number of hours we spent on that court. Sorry. And all the memories that tennis gave us, just traveling all over the country from tournament to tournament, memories that I'll cherish for my entire life, of all the places and the things that we got to do. And then last, of course, I have to thank my husband, which has just been my rock and everything. And I didn't know him in high school, but he's everything to me now. So thank you for supporting me and being here. And thank you, everyone. I appreciate this honor.
Our next inductee will be Tammy Stewart-Nuri from the class of '93, and Bill Bowers will be doing the introduction.
Good evening, and thank you, or congratulations to all the inductees this year. I'm going to change things up a little bit from the previous coach, and rather than have you look at me, I would rather have you look at someone who's better looking than me. So Tammy, if you would please come up, and you can look at Tammy instead of me. Thank you. You can stand right there. Distracts me. As most of you probably know, or many of you do, and I've been in this position before, and being in track and field and cross country, I'm a numbers guy. So basically what I did to talk about Tammy is give you some of the numbers that I've discovered and see why she is certainly worthy of this induction. Winning the Lancaster-Lebanon League Track and Field Championship as a team is very difficult because I think there were probably about 28 teams when Tammy was running, and she contributed largely to 2 league meet championship teams. And I'll go through and give you an example. She came to us in 1990 as a freshman, and fortunately or unfortunately, She was the second sprinter on our team. Tammy's specialties were 100, 200, 400, and a 4x1 relay. And she got a chance to run behind someone so she could learn the ropes, and she learned very, very well. So I don't have all the stats about how many events she won through her 4 years because I don't have a computer big enough to have the CPU to hold all that. But I'll just give you the kind of the highlights. Her freshman year in 1990, she was a league champ. These are all league champions, by the way, all first places, gold medals. In 1990, she was on a member of the 4x1 relay team that won the league. In 1991, and I want you to keep this in mind, what I'm about to say. In 1991, she won the 400-meter dash in the league meet, and she anchored the 4x1 relay, 2 gold medals. That's not to mention the other ones that she earned. In 1992, she won the 400-meter dash in the league meet. In 1993, and this, I mean, people who've been around know that I go back a long way. I can only remember one person in the history of Lancaster-Lebanon League doing this, and that's somebody who was already in our Hall of Fame. In the 1993 league meet, Tammy won the 100 in a school record. She won the 200, she won the 400, and she anchored the 4x1 relay, 4 gold medals in one meet, 3 of them individual, 1 of them anchoring the relay team. In 1991, she won the 400-meter dash in the district meet in a district record time. Now, those of you who know sports know that District 1, 3, and 7 are the 3 toughest districts, especially in track and field. She set a district record. And in 1993, she won the 100-meter dash in the district. So in her entire career, she won a league championship 8 times and got 14 league medals. In district, she was champion 2 times and got 10 district medals. And she made the states, and several times she ended up with 4 state medals. When she graduated, she had the school record in the 100. I'll give you times, but for most people, they don't have any relation to that. She had the school record in the 200, the school record in the 400, and the school record in the 4x1 relay. Now, I collected all this data prior to COVID, so we're talking about before 2019 or so. So this might be a tiny bit outdated because I didn't have a chance to go back and look at this stuff. But in Hempfield history, starting in what was that, 1960 or 70, somewhere in that range, starting in 1970 up to the time she graduated, and actually through about 2019, she was 5th in the 100 in our school, our whole school history. She's 5th in the 100, 4th in the 200, 3rd in the 400, 6th in the 4x1 relay, and 7th in an event that they didn't run except for invitationals when she was around. It's called the Sprint Medley Relay. There was also a guy that some of you might remember by the name of Bob Trump. Bob Trump was a super enthusiastic track guy. And up until his death, it wouldn't surprise me if he died at a track meet. He kept records of everybody in the entire league for every event. And you could compare yourself over decades of performances. So in 1993, at least according to Bob Trump, Tammy was tied for 6th best ever in the 100. In 1991, she was tied for 21st best ever. Now, keep in mind, this is the whole history of the league. In 1991, in the 400, 13th best, and in the 4x1 relay, in 1992, she was 18th best. So, summary. There was a guy by the name of Bill Fisher. Maybe you remember him as being a sports editor for the Sunday News. And one of his loves was Penn State, but we're not in that season. The other love was track and field. He just ate the stuff up, all the stats and everything. And he kept an honor roll every year, week to week, event by event, comparing every person in the league in the events that they participated in. And at the end of the year, he ended up showing a final performance where people stood through the course of the year. He took their best time or throw or jump, depending upon the event. And this is where Tammy ended up. Freshman year, 1990. And keep in mind, this is for the whole league, for the whole year. She was third best time in the 100, fourth best time in the 200. She didn't run 400 her freshman year because people don't like that so much. And they were first in a 4x1 relay. That was her freshman year. Sophomore year, she was second in the 100, second in the 200, first in the 400, and second in the 4x1 relay. Junior year, second in the 100, fourth in the 200, first again in the 400, and second in the 4x1 relay. And her senior year, first in the 100, second in the 200, second in the 400, and first in the 4x1 relay. Now I want to go back a little bit because I asked you to remember something. When I went back to 1991, her sophomore year, and I said, she won the 400-meter dash. I said, remember that. Because in 1992, she won the 400-meter dash. And in 1993, she won the 400-meter dash. She is one of the very, 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 very few people who win the same event 3 or 4 years in a row. And she accomplished that. And I'm very proud to have been her coach, Tammy.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. I'm so pleased to be here today. It's funny, we were exchanging just before the ceremony started, and folks were asking, how often do you come back to Lancaster? And up to a year ago, we hadn't really traveled back because my family has moved away from Lancaster. But my son plays basketball, and we've been here 3 or 4 times in the last year. So it's wonderful to be back in Landisville. I'm aging, so I'm gonna put my glasses on here. So I won't take too much time, but I do want to thank several people, of course, who were integral in my success. My family is here today, my husband and my son, my husband Khalil and my son Koa. Thank you for your support, for your unconditional love. My parents, okay, so Lauren, you started this, okay? You remember that, you started this. And I'm a sap anyway, so I knew I was gonna cry. But my parents, John Wilson and Jackie Wilson, who are actually my aunt and uncle, but they accepted me and my sister into their home as their own. Me and my sister, who has now passed away, but I am just so thankful for everything that they have committed to my life, to my success, and of course, to my current family. My brother, Justin, and my other brother, John Wilson, who was not able to make it today, but just love them deeply. And they were so supportive throughout my time at Hempfield and beyond. Thank you to Mr. Bowers, of course, for being relentless in this nomination. I know you put a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears into it, and just all of the requirements and the process to get to the point of induction. So I appreciate you for that, and of course, as a coach and everything that you contributed to my growth and development. But one of the things about Mr. Bowers that I may have told him, but he actually helped me to discover my love of science and technology as my first chemistry teacher. So I feel like that arguably is even more important than any preparation that he could have provided to me on the track. So I appreciate you greatly. Ms. Miller, thank you. Ms. Linda Miller, who is part of the committee, thank you so much for your leadership. Ms. Miller was actually highly engaged in my selection of colleges after Hempfield. So I appreciate you for all that you contributed to my growth and development. Thank you. Although they're not here today, Mr. Mike Wise and Ms. Luann Wise, you think back on as you age and get older, you sort of think back on things that happened to you, people that were in your life, and they were a married couple coaching us through, coaching us crazy teenagers through high school. And now I can appreciate it. My husband and I celebrated 15 years this year. Being with your husband every day with crazy people around, I'm like in awe of both of them. But Mrs. Wise especially, she was a powerful, passionate, and very nurturing coach and woman, and very much shaped who I was leaving Hempfield. So of course I have to thank the committee, the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you so much for this induction. I appreciate you and all of the work. I know year over year you put so much effort and energy into to this program, and I appreciate you. And of course, congratulations to all the inductees this year. Thank you.
Warren Goodling, he's going to introduce Brian Weidel.
It's great to be back to Hempfield to be a Black Knight again tonight. So hopefully we can beat McCaskey in the football game. But congratulations to all the inductees. It's very impressive to read about everybody, and I was able to see a lot of the performances from the people when I was working here. But again, well-deserved for everybody. And I'm honored tonight to be able to introduce Brian Weidel, who was an amazing young man that I had the opportunity to coach. And I think all the coaches that had a chance to coach him would tell you this is one of the reasons why you get an education to coach young men like Brian was. So I don't have a lot of numbers for Brian, but I have a lot of what I call intangibles for Brian that I think all the coaches experienced, and certainly his teammates experienced that. But Brian was a 3-sport athlete. He participated in football, basketball, and volleyball. And there might be another sport in there that was it, okay. But he participated in all 3 sports. The other thing about Brian that was impressive, that he was a student athlete from the word go. He was able to go to Cornell University, the high academic school that is, so he didn't take any shortcuts on his academics. As well, he didn't take any shortcuts in his athletic career here at Hempfield, participate in all 3 sports. For in football, Coach Getz will know a little bit more about that than me, but we know that he was a co-captain, a captain of the team in the Lancaster-Lebanon League. He was a first-team All-Star for the Lancaster-Lebanon. He was voted the Lineman of the Year in the Lancaster-Lebanon League. And he was also a member of a championship team in the Lancaster-Lebanon League. And a great accomplishment there in football. Volleyball, we know the same thing was going on there. They won section titles and league titles probably all 3 of your years in 91, 92, and 93. And here you get an idea of what kind of winner that Brian had. He had probably had a lot of gold medals in his room when he was in high school, okay? I know him most for basketball because I coached him in basketball, and Brian was on our 92 team that won the Lancaster Lebanon League. He was on our 93 team that we are won 20 games that year. Lost to defending state champ Steel High at the Hershey Arena in front of a packed house in a close game. It was a heartbreaking game, but the whole story of that, his career in basketball, and if you remember the 92 season, we started that season picked to be the 8th best team in Section 1 out of 8 teams. Thanks to Gordy Jones, who picked us to be 8 out of 8 because we had no returning starters coming back to the team. And we actually started out in the league 1 win and 4 losses. But the group we had that year that Brian was involved with and played with and helped lead, even though he was a junior, was a team that never gave up. And he was part of that, where things didn't look good there for a while, but that team came back and won the Lancaster Lebanon League Championship. And I think Brian can remember some of the minutes that he played in the championship game at Millersville when Jeff Farley had to come out of the game and he'd have to go in and guard 6'8" Adrian Jones, who was the player of the year before, and then Conestoga Valley won the championship the year before, so Brian had to go in and rough him up a little bit. Okay, so we had Jeff Farley, and Brian Weidel to guard him, and we ended up winning that game. But those are some great memories of that. Also so Brian had championships in football, basketball, and volleyball. And he was also named the Hempfield Male Athlete of the Year in 1993, and I'm sure he was named the Hempfield Student Athlete of the Year because that's certainly what he was. So like I said about Brian, the things that I remember about Brian are the intangible things that we try to teach or we're exposed to in athletics. And let me just go over a couple of those things that I remember when I talked to my coaches about Brian. These are some of the things that they talked about. Brian was definitely a leader in his class and academics and athletics on all his teams. He projected self-confidence needed to face the toughest situations in athletics. He was able to quickly create a positive rapport with his teammates, had a positive rapport with everybody on the team. He naturally commanded the respect of his teammates and of his opponents. He led by example. He promoted team harmony and teamwork. And he inspired his peers to become leaders. He was a 3-sport athlete, and he had to devote appropriate attention to all 3 sports, and he never let you down. He was very dependable. He honored all of his commitments. Brian helped all the sports team develop a culture that featured dependability and teamwork. And that's what it's all about, those intangibles. Right now, Brian has an incredible job as a research fishery biologist on Lake Ontario. He has his PhD, I think, from the University of Wisconsin, got his undergraduate and master's degree from Cornell, where he played football for 4 years, and I remember being at Bucknell that one year when you played Bucknell and the Cornell won that game, okay? And he played football, was a co-captain his senior year, was also named to the All-Ivy League football team. So I'm honored to welcome and to introduce Brian Weidel as a Hall of Fame member this year.
Thank you, Coach. I really appreciate it. What a great opportunity. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee and everybody that put this together and the other inductees. Maybe sort of one of the neatest moments here yet tonight was getting to be interviewed by our classmate Joanne Orlando's son out in the hallway and asked about, sort of what is it about this that's sort of most special for you? And, you didn't hear a whole lot of numbers and a lot of stats. To me, the whole point of it was about the team. And so to get to be up here and take an individual honor like this feels a little bit odd because really it's more, for me at least, it was about the team element of this and the players that I played with. Some of my volleyball players are here, my football players are here, my basketball coaches. That was the part to me that is the best part of this honor. And it's really, I didn't do any of it alone. I did it with them. And so that's sort of what's most special. I thought, hearing about the Hempfield Athletics, it was neat to drive in here and get to see my son. We live in a small town in upstate New York, class of maybe 50, and to get him to kind of come in here and see just, one big athletic stadium after another, after another, after another, it really gives you a sense for what Hempfield devotes to not just the academics, but to the athletics as a whole and that team element. And, it looks so big and you focus on the players and the coaches, but there's so many folks that go into making this all possible, be they athletic directors present or past, the trainers that are here, that are still out there, that are friends, the people that do the tickets, the people that keep the fields ready. It's really just an amazing element of family, and that's what it was for me. Some would joke that it was, I just wanted to play 3 sports so I wouldn't have to go home and work on my dad's farm. Some of that may have been true, but some of us had to do that anyway after practice too. So Coach Getz and Coach would give me a little crap about that and ask me if I'd have to go work in the tobacco fields after 2-a-days. And I always asked them if they wanted to come along, and they quit making fun of me pretty quick after that. So, but that really leads into sort of the thank yous, and first and foremost to my parents, Joe and Sandy Whittle, both educators here at Hempfield. They were part of those teams that supported the Hempfield Athletics, whether my mom was working in the selling tickets or in the concession stand. I got to be a part of it early with my dad because he would be keeping the stats on the side of the football sidelines, or he was keeping the clock for basketball. And so, when I was being there for Coach Goodling and maybe rough people up a little too much and have to come out with a few fouls, I'd usually hear about it on the way past the timekeeper's clock. And I remember at least one point getting yelled at pretty hard, and I got to the bench and Coach Goodling looked at me, he's like, "You heard enough. Sit down." He didn't have to yell at me. I already got that lesson learned. So thank you to them. Thank you to my family and my friends that are here, to all the players, and just to everybody that's a part of this Hempfield community. I really appreciate that you mentioned the academic and athletic element, and Tammy talked about some of her teachers that really inspired her, whether it was like Mr. Tom Beaver, Lee Gajecki, folks like that who really helped me sort of focus on my science and design and element and where I am. Way that even my teacher, Mr. Schuss, who helped me understand that English was probably not the thing I was going to go into at any point. So then I focused, I would hang out more with people like Bearfield and Mr. Grant and the math teachers, and that's sort of where I ended up focusing. And so just it's such a great family to be back here, a part of this, and get to share it with my family. Kristen Reese, thank you so much for being here and getting to share this with me. And, my family even extends to the school board, so it's pretty neat to get to be here and take pictures with so many of them, and to, see the Smiths here. It's just great to be back. So thank you, Coach Goodling. Thank you, all my coaches. Thank you for the Hall of Fame stuff. Appreciate it.
Our next inductee will be the 2004 baseball team. Tom Getz will introduce them.
Congratulations again to Brian, and I just mentioned it to him when I was up front here with him. He not only graduated from Cornell, but he also graduated from Stoutland University. And that is The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line coach is Jeff Stoutland, who was Brian's offensive line coach at Cornell. And they call his players part of Stoutland University. And Brian went through all that. And he's here today to talk about it. Okay. It's a privilege for me tonight to honor the 2004 Hall of Fame baseball team. So if all the players that are here tonight, would you come up front? And my lovely wife will hand you a copy of the plaque. Come on up, guys. And coaches. And coaches. The team in front of you is arguably the finest baseball team in school history. They finished the season with a 25-5 record. The 25 wins is still the most in program history today, 20 years later. According to the Hempfield Baseball website, they are statistically the best team in school history. Not my words, that's the president baseball coach's words. They won the league championship by defeating Penn Manor 8-1. In that game, Austin Hinkle picked up his 10th win, while Keith Dow had 3 RBIs and Jordan Herr was 2 for 4 with 2 stolen bases. They were the first baseball team to win a district championship, defeating eventual state champion Chambersburg in the finals. In the district finals, Jay Enoch had the game of his life. Where's Jay? And I got this right from the paper. All 5'7", 140 pounds of him. He could throw it 90 miles an hour, believe it or not. Not only was he the winning pitcher, but he reached base 4 times and stole 2 bases. He also made the defensive play of the year, catching a line drive that knocked him over while doubling the runner off first base to seal the win. In the state playoffs, Jordan Herr hit a dramatic bottom of the 7th walk-off 2-run home run against Springfield Delco, and Austin Hinkle earned his 13th victory. Against Shikellamy, it was the Enoch, and Herr show, as Jay struck out 13, and Jordan again homered, along with a 2 RBI game from Kyle Enoch to lead the Black Knights to a 5-1 win. The Black Knights dominated the Section 1 All-Star team with 5 players earning 6 first-team All-Section honors. Jay Enoch was named both as a pitcher and a shortstop. Jordan Herr outfield, Austin Hinkle pitcher, Drew Perry outfield, and Brett Rhodes third base. Jordan Herr, Austin Hinkle, Drew Perry, and Brett Rhodes were all named to the Pennsylvania All-State team. Even after 20 years, numerous players still rank in the top 10 in various categories. Austin Hinkle and Jay Enoch rank 1 and 2 respectively with 107 and 102 strikeouts. Pretty impressive. Austin Hinkle's 13 wins is still a Hempfield record. Brett Rhodes' 15 doubles is first all-time, and his 40 hits ranks second. Jay Enoch's 5 triples is also first all-time. Jordan Herr, Kyle Enoch, and Drew Perry all rank in the top 10 in various offensive categories. Jay Enoch, Jordan Herr, and Austin Hinkle went on to play professional baseball. Not only did we have a great team, but we also had a great coaching staff. They were with me almost my entire 30 years as a baseball coach here at Hempfield. Jack Merrifield was an outstanding pitching coach, and Bob Ritchie made sure our young players were ready to step in when called upon. Then you get lucky and a Cardinal Hall of Famer in Tom Herr comes on your staff, and you have a recipe for success. I sincerely want to thank my coaching staff. At this time, Austin Hinkle has a few remarks. I think. He deferred today. Oh, okay, our 5'7" guy's gonna 140-pound, 90-mile-an-hour fastball guy's gonna do it.
I don't know if I still weigh 140 though. First off, I'll speak on behalf of these guys. Huge honor that we're here being honored by the committee. So first, thank you. Obviously, there's a ton of athletes here tonight. Congratulations to you guys as well for being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Huge honor to you guys as well, so congratulations. I will keep this short, but there's a couple themes that I would say kind of played through our team. First, I would say the coaching staff. We had a unique, dynamic coaching staff. We had the stoic, disciplined, organized head coach. We had the laid-back, easygoing assistant coach. We had the strong mustache game. He's not rocking it anymore, but Coach Merrifield. And Coach Ritchie instilled the discipline with a militaristic style from the start. So obviously we had a dynamic leadership. I would say that played true through the entire team. We had plenty of personality. We had guys that kept to themselves, guys that were very outgoing and loud, but we all meshed well together. The unique part of our team, I would say, is we were a bunch of athletes playing baseball. I think of the 16 that were on this team, 10 or 11 of us were multi-sport athletes. Many of us went on to play college athletics, so I think that was unique from our team perspective, and I don't think you see that as much anymore today. Two moments in my memory that kind of summarized this season, I would say. One was at the beginning, and the other was at the end, and it kind of bookend the season. The first, if you know anything about Coach Getz, he's very traditional. We had to wear all black cleats. We had to wear white socks with stirrups, and that was his style. I think the first change in this team was when we approached Coach Getz to ask him if we could wear black socks and colored cleats. At first, I thought he was going to rip my head off when I asked him, but he relented, and I think that allowed us to play a little bit freer because he had trust in us. The other piece was towards the tail end of the season. We were in a district playoff game, and if you know anything about Hempfield, we hadn't made it very far in the district playoffs. Our MO was that we would get eliminated even though we had good seasons. And Coach Getz, after about 2 or 3 innings of a game against Gettysburg where we were playing less than stellar defense and pitching and hitting, he brought us together for a very colorful speech that I would say I couldn't repeat here today. And basically told us, if you want this to be your reputation for a good team that doesn't make it very far, keep playing like you're playing. If you want to turn it around, you better snap it in right now. And that just kind of freed us to play the way we did for the rest of the season. And ultimately, that took us to the state semifinal game where we lost to the eventual state champion. But it was a tremendous season with tremendous players and tremendous coaches. And the thing that I probably remember most about this season is the relationships, and I think, Brian, you had mentioned it too, is the relationships that you develop. A lot of these guys, we still hang out on a regular basis now, and when we had to get together and communicate, we started a text string, and it was literally like going back to 2004 very quickly with the memories and the comments and whatnot. So I cherish those moments. I know these guys do too. And lastly, just kind of from a timing perspective, obviously we were 20 years away. Ironic timing that we're going into the Hall of Fame, and the first team in school history just won the 6A state title. So we may have been the first, but that's just the start of the legacy for Hempfield baseball. So thank you again. We're very appreciative for the honor, and that's all I got.
So congratulations to the 2004 baseball team. Our last inductee, but not least, is Aiden Hodge. Unfortunately, Aiden is at Ole Miss. He's a sophomore, so he couldn't be here. So Jeff Bradley will be his introducer, and then I believe he has something set up by video in the way of acceptance speech.
Kurt Rogers.
What's that?
Kurt Rogers is introducing him.
Oh, Kurt Rogers, and you're not talking?
No.
Okay. All right. Kurt Rogers will be introducing him. And you may wonder, how did somebody so young get in the Hall of Fame? The reason is we changed the bylaws a couple years back that anybody that wins a state championship is automatically inducted. So because Aiden won a state championship back in '23, he's automatically inducted, and that's why he's the young guy here today. So they're getting a video ready, but I'll let Kurt go ahead and stand up here and get ready.
Hi, I'm Kurt Rogers, just recently retired coach of Hempfield's track and field and cross-country teams. I have the distinct honor of introducing Aiden Hodge as a 2024 inductee into this Athletic Hall of Fame. And due to his astounding resume and accomplishments, Aiden was destined to be included in this Hall of Fame. Sorry for the pun, but he was fast-tracked because of some fantastic track accomplishments that made him state champion. As Charlie mentioned, unfortunately, Aiden is not able to be here tonight because he is down at Ole Miss University in his second year competing there as a student athlete. He's in season right now, and he's 1,000 miles away, so it's not so easy for him to get here. I would like to introduce, though, Aiden's parents and brother, John and Christiane Hodge and Liam Hodge. So if you guys could stand, since you're standing in for Aiden tonight. Aiden received unwavering support from these three during his time as a runner here, and Liam is now a sophomore, and he is on the cross-country teams and the track team, so the Hodge name is still out there, and look for things in the future from Liam. Aiden did record a acceptance speech, so Jeff has that queued up here, and we'll let Aiden's words speak for him right now.
Hey, it's Aiden Hodge. I'm coming from the campus of Ole Miss. Unfortunately, I'm unable to accept my award in person as I'm getting ready for the upcoming cross-country season. First, I'd like to thank Hempfield Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me to the 2024 Hall of Fame class. During my time at Hempfield, I saw all the honors before me as I walked the halls of Hempfield High School, and I'm truly honored and humbled to be part of them. I would like to also thank Coach Matt, Coach Snyder, Coach Smith for their coaching guidance, and especially I'd like to thank Coach Rogers and Coach Bradley. They saw my potential as a freshman. We worked together, put training plans in place to make me as successful as possible. I listened and learned a lot from the training, but also from their experiences as former Hempfield runners. They helped me become a student of the sport, and as my teachers, hopefully they look on me as one of their A+ students. One of those used phrases is, "There is no I in team," and this could not be more true. When it comes to Hempfield distance running, one word I would describe it is brotherhood. We may have started as teammates, but over the course of many, many seasons, we became brothers. I accomplished a lot individually, and none of it would have been possible without all of my teammates. As much success that I had individually, I enjoyed the team success more. Hempfield Distance had a rich history over the years, and I've met many of the alumni who have come to support our team through the years. The list of coaches and athletes is long and distinguished. Coach Rogers, Coach Bradley, Coach Bowers, the Mr. Anway, Mr. Newman, Zeffie, McNicholas, Shat, Paul, Roth, and many, many more. I appreciated meeting all the alumni and hearing their stories, and encouraging our teams throughout the years. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family, my mom, my dad. None of this would have been possible without you. All the rides to practices, volunteering for the cross-country booster club, making sure we were watered and fed, being there for all the good times and all the bad times as well. Stressing the importance of being a student, and student first and athlete second, and it has truly helped me be the person I am today. Liam, my brother, I can't wait to see you and your team accomplish over the next 3 years. Thank you again for this great honor, and good luck to the Black Knights this year.
To be considered for induction into this Hall of Fame, an athlete needs to be quite talented, unique, and accomplished. Aiden finished his career as truly the best overall Hempfield distance runner in school history, which he alluded to has a history to it with many names and many accolades and many accomplishments by people before him. In his 4 years, Aiden rose from an eager freshman trying to make his mark and find his place in the Hempfield teams to being the premier distance runner in the league, District 3, and in the state of Pennsylvania. He earned all of this because of his tireless work ethic, his love of running and his teammates, which he just alluded to, and his eagerness to achieve. He had some roadblocks along the way, as all athletes do. Namely, the entire 2020 track and field season was erased and nobody competed. And he suffered an avulsion fracture to his hip bone at the end of his junior cross-country season at the state meet. The attributes noted previously, his work ethic and his eagerness to achieve, helped him make it through the tough times, and eventually he ran faster and earned more accolades after those tests. Aiden was admired by his coaches and his teammates and all the Hempfield fans, but even longtime running enthusiasts from around the area and the state and coaches from competing teams became fans of Aiden Hodge. He was always humble in victory and carried himself always as a gentleman. In the spring of his senior year, Aiden was awarded the prestigious A. Landis Brackbill Scholar Athlete Award, as well as being named the Lancaster newspaper's Male Athlete of the Year. Aiden left a legacy for other student athletes to follow. Over his 4 years here running cross country and track, Aiden earned the following league, district, and state medals. In cross country, he earned 8 league medals, 4 individual and 4 team, 1 individual gold medal, and 3 team gold medals. Cross country districts, he earned 5 medals, 3 individual and 2 team, and 1 gold medal and 2 team gold medals. At the state level in cross country, he medaled 3 times. His sophomore year, he placed 21st in the state. His junior year, running with an avulsion fracture, he placed 20th in the state. Had to be carried up to get his medal, but he placed 20th in the state. And his senior year, he placed 6th in the state. There is something called indoor track and field also, which is not PIAA sport, but it's integral to an outdoor competitions. And Aiden earned 2 medals in the indoor state championships that are held at Penn State every winter. Now, the picture that is on his plaque, he's dressed in his track uniform, and as an outdoor track and field athlete, in the league, he earned a total of 8 medals at league competition, 5 of them gold. At the district level meets, he earned 6 total medals, 1 individual gold out of those 6. And at the state level, he earned 3 medals, his sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, a medal each year. And his senior year, it was a gold medal. We've been keeping records of all Hempfield track and field and cross country for a very long time. Here is just some of his records for track, since that's what he's being inducted for right now. He holds, indoor, he holds a record in the 800, 1,000 meter, the 1 mile, the 3,000 meter, the 3,200 meter, and in something called the distance medley relay. And then the outdoor track and field, he owns a school record in the 800, the 1600, and the 3200. So all distance events in the outdoor season. Now, we have queued up, and I'm going to now talk about his gold medal performance at the state meet in his senior year. Here's the setup for it, though. The week before the state meet, there was the district meet at Shippensburg, and Aiden ran both the 1600 meter and the 800 meter. He won the 1600 meter race as the champion. He set a school record time of 4 minutes, 10.77 seconds, and he just missed the district record in that race. He gave his all to win that race, and he was quite spent afterwards, feeling weak and depleted. But a short time later, he had to step on the track for the 800 meter because he had goals to get to the state meet in both events. He mustered up all his strength and again gave all the effort he could give. And he placed fourth in a time of 1 minute 56.72 seconds. It was a great meet and fantastic accomplishments, qualifying for both events to the state meet the next week. At the state meet, Aiden had his sights set on the 16 and the 8. The 1600 meter was on Friday, and the 800 meter was going to be on Saturday. The 16 didn't turn out the way that he wanted or that we were all hoping for him. He placed 10th overall in the state, which was a little disappointing, but we collectively set our sights for Saturday. Coming into the meet, he was the fastest 800 meter runner that was going to be stepping onto the track that day. But the seedings for the meet, for the state meet, are made as results from the district meet. They take 32 800 meter runners to the state meet every year. He was ranked 21st out of the 32 runners that were going to be running. So they split the race into the event into two heats. The slower heat, which is first, and then the faster seeded heat, which comes second. So he was in that slower heat, the first heat that was to go. Sorry. He and I had breakfast the night before in the cafeteria at Shippensburg, and talking that night in the dorm and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of tried to keep reiterating to him that he was the fastest 800 meter runner in the state that was going to step on the track the next day. He went into it with the mindset of, yes, I am fast, and yes, I can do this. He did just that. He won his heat with a blazing time of 1 minute 52 seconds, 0.16. And the pressure was now on for the next group of runners that were going to step up onto the track. They watched him run this time. They watched him do this. He had his name recognition. Their eyes became very wide. The second heat ran their race, and nobody beat Aiden's time. Aiden Hodge was the first person in state history to win the gold medal in the AAA boys 800 meter from the slow heat. His entire 4-year Hempfield running career earned him the right to be inducted into this Hall of Fame tonight. But the Hollywood storybook ending that was his last scholastic race really cemented it and was the cherry on top for him. I think we now have the video to watch. So
You can't see it. More around here. There we go.
Aiden is wearing a white shirt.
Out of District 7 with a 156.66. Aiden Hodge is the 5th seed of Heckfield, 156.72. And here we go.
Crowd has settled down considerably from
Yeah, it's kind of quiet.
afternoon, very quiet. It's hot.
And everybody making that happen
Tell me Aiden's in
a little
Aiden's in a white.
more seamlessly than the prior race we could witness, where some people were getting bounced out of bounds a little bit, somehow still managing to keep their feet.
Yeah, this race, just looking at it looks faster. Just the way they're moving. Although it's not that much faster, we're definitely seeing arm carry, faster stroke. It just looks faster.
I see no medalists from yesterday's 1600 in this first heat. We have a couple coming up in the second time final.
So here's Joseph Butler leading from Cumberland Valley.
We do think that Aiden getting past right there was his motivation.
The fifth seed, Aiden Hodge.
William Davis of East Stratford South in second rank out. Just made a quick move there to get this when they passed the start finish line.
There you go. And Hodge, you might recognize that name too, Mark from Hetfield. He's a senior, qualified with a 156.72.
Yeah, and Hodge came up second in the lead.
Yeah, it looks fresh.
Hodge moving well.
Hodge has that look of determination, like, all right, I'm doing this. Here we go. Crushing it to the finish line ahead of the rest.
Oh, what a time.
Yeah, 154.93. I wonder if that might stick. 152.17, the official time for Joseph Butler.
Aiden Hodge.
Aiden Hodge of Hetfield.
Yeah, he really looked good. It was a fast arm stroke and a good turnover that whole race.
4 seconds under what he ran at his district meeting.
Now, that's a PR, I think, too, for him. You can see it. We're led by Butler here. There was a bump, but yeah, incidental. This is where Butler takes the lead, but coming around here, here's Hodge on the outside, making the move before the turn, and then carrying on. Now that's quite a lengthy lead he built up.
Yeah, you say incidental, and I appreciate that, Rick, but man, bump.
As you can see, even the announcers were kind of confused as to what was going on. There's no, they were waiting until the faster heat came so they could really talk up the race, and spoiler, right there. I do think Aiden's kind of lucky that he's not here, because instead of showing a video, we were going to have him recreate it out on our track, and we were all going to walk out there. So, but we thought the actual race would show his story and why he was the state champ. He worked and worked and worked and worked, and the finish line was in front of him. He wanted to get to it as fast as he could and beat everybody else there. Aiden Hodge, 2024 Hempfield Athletic Hall of Fame inductee.
So congratulations to Aiden Hodge. That was a remarkable race, and as you heard Mr. Rogers say, that's never been done in states before. This now concludes the induction ceremony. As I